Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Best Bets edition of the Pump Fake, heading into week 4 of the NFL season. So we'll go through every game today and give you my picks for it. A little bit of a breakdown for each. I'll give you my best bets of the week. And then we'll get on out of here. Just short and sweet today. So before we get into it, record against the spread this season, 27-21. Money line record, 29-18-1. So not a bad start in the first 3 weeks of the year. So we'll go through game by game. And I'll give you, if I'm going to bet on it, stay away from it. Like I said, I'll come back to you, give you my 5 best bets against the spread. And then some anytime touchdowns, because that is one of my favorite things to bet. So fun to build a little bit of a parlay with that. Rarely do they hit if you build more than, a 4-leg anytime touchdown. But if you just do, a straight up, certain players scoring, they are fun to see it, especially if it's a discrete one. So we'll go through those as well. But yeah, we'll go London this weekend, Minnesota and New Orleans. Minnesota -3 in this game. This is one of my big 5 bets, and I will take Minnesota and the points. The Saints have kind of shown us what I expected them to show us, which is a team led by Dennis Allen and Jameis Winston isn't going, to make much noise. Granted, Jameis Winston is dealing with back injuries. Chance that he might not play tomorrow. Andy Dalton could get the start. And if that's the case, then yeah, jump on this game while you can. I think whoever the quarterback is, the Saints offense is dead in the water. And we've seen that the past couple weeks against Tampa Bay, last week against Carolina. The Vikings and another close win last week against the Lions. Those two teams can't play each other without it going down to the wire, apparently. They're 2-1. I expect them to be 3-1 by the end of the week. That 9:00 game in London. 12 hours of football tomorrow for us, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a fun time. So Vikings -3. I do expect that one to be one that hits. So Vikings -3. Colts, Titans, one that I'm not touching because these two teams, I think they're both just not very good. One of them might win the division. Right now, it looks like Jacksonville's the best team in the AFC South. You look at the Titans, they get off the schneid last week against the Raiders. Even that, offensively, they don't look in sync. They clearly miss A.J. Brown. Treylon Burks hasn't been exactly what they were hoping for, which, again, when you're drafting a guy to basically replace A.J. Brown, it's a big ask for a guy who, is fresh out of school. So defensively too, it's just been, they don't look like the same team from last year. Granted, there was times last year where they looked bad too and they were hurt. And we're kind of seeing that same team show up. The Colts, coming off a big win against the Chiefs without Shaquille Leonard. And so this is a team that, they're well coached in Frank Reich. Got a great running back in Jonathan Taylor. Their offensive line's been brutal, though. And that's something that they need to clear up. And even then, though, Taylor's looked good despite the bad offensive line play. So credit to him. Credit to the Colts. It's one I'm not touching in terms of the spread. I did pick Indy, if I'm not mistaken. See, I can't remember which one I picked. Who did I pick? I did pick the Colts. In the Bet Slip on Tally site. So the Colts are my money line pick. I'm not actually going to bet it. But if it's a coin flip, I'll take the Colts. Bears, Giants. David Montgomery not playing this game. These are two bad teams that are 2-1. Now, granted, the Giants, I think the Giants are better than the Bears, and I think they do win this. I think it'll be probably by a field goal. Both games that they've won have been close and decided by 3, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this one will be pretty similar. Both teams are going to run the hell out of the ball. Because both teams' rush defenses aren't very great, and both of their run games are very good. So I'm not going to expect a lot of passing in this game. Whatever the passing yards total is for both quarterbacks, take the under, especially Justin Fields. They aren't going to let him throw the ball. So I do think the Giants, look, Saquon Barkley is starting to look like his 2018 self, which is nice to see. Now, Khalil Herbert, he'll still get a lot of touches for the Bears tomorrow. More on that later. But I will take the Giants to beat the Bears in MetLife. Bills-Ravens, going to be a fun game. 1 o'clock window, CBS. Yeah, can't wait for this one. The two best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, squaring up. Bills coming off that loss to Miami. Ravens coming off a win against the Patriots. They are 2-1. So we'll see what happens here. It's going to be fun to watch these two go at it. I hope to see a shootout. I do think the Bills will win against Baltimore. And I will take them with the points. So I'll take Bills -3. I don't think it'll be much more than that. I think it'll probably be like a 5 or 6 point game, still within one possession. But I think the Bills do win, bounce back. I just don't see the Bills losing consecutive games this year. I don't. I like Baltimore. I think Baltimore's going to be really good. I think they are really good. I think Lamar Jackson's really good. I just think that you saw how pissed off the Bills were after losing, and that says a lot to me. I think Josh Allen's going to be playing with a vengeance. This Ravens secondary, like, they have the talent. They just haven't had the chemistry. They've allowed a lot of lapses so far this season, and I think the Bills take advantage of that. So Bills -3. And look, hopefully we get, a 34-30 game. Hopefully it's a fun game like that. Chargers-Texans. This is one I'm not touching because the Chargers can't seem like the Chargers, more than anybody, get in their own way. Now, granted, they deal with injuries all the time, and this year's no different. However, at some point, that can't be an excuse anymore. Because this has been the team that we've seen largely for the past decade. Doesn't matter the personnel, doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It just seems that the Chargers can't figure it out. I think they win this game. I would not be shocked in the slightest if the Texans keep it close. Because the Texans have had a knack for doing that so far this year. I mean, they haven't been blown out. So I'll take the Chargers to win. I'm not touching it bet-wise. I'm not touching it point-wise. But I do think the Chargers will win. They're going to be without some guys. Keenan Allen isn't going to be playing, so a lot of the focus is going to be on Mike Williams defensively for the Texans. See if Austin Eckler can kind of get himself back into peak Austin Eckler form, because we know that he's capable of that. But I expect the Texans to keep it close. Seahawks-Lions. Lions are 3.5 point favorites. This isn't one of my big five, but I would take Lions -3.5 in this game. Again, not to say that I think they're going to blow out the Seahawks. I think it'll be still within a touchdown. But I don't think the Seahawks are any good. I think everybody got excited about that week 1 game against the Broncos, but we've just figured out, the Broncos just aren't very good. The Seahawks get blown out by the 49ers. They lose to the Falcons. I think they continue that. I think Detroit gets to 2-2. Now, they are without Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that's going to put a lot of the focus on DeAndre Swift, DJ Chark, TJ Hawkinson. So keep that in mind, especially if you're a fantasy guy. I mean, if you got DJ Chark, throw him in the starting lineup. But I will take Lions -3.5. Jets Steelers. As a Steeler fan, I hope that they would be able to beat the Jets. I'm not touching it betting-wise, though. 3.5 point favorites at home are the Steelers. They've had some trouble against the Jets in the Mike Tomlin era. Kind of an up and down thing against this franchise. They lost to them in New York in 2019, which I believe is the last time those two teams played each other. So, not necessarily crossing my fingers or getting excited about this. Like, I'm going to be hopeful as a Steeler fan, but we shall see. Pick the Steelers to win it, but would I be shocked if it had to come down to a last-second Chris Boswell field goal now? Jaguars-Eagles. This is my upset of the week. I do think the Jaguars beat the Eagles. Eagles aren't going to win every game. They are a good team. The Jaguars just look on one right now. Beating the Chargers 38-10. The week before that, shutting out the Indianapolis Colts 24-0. They look fantastic. Now look, Doug Peterson revenge game. I'm here for it. Why not? So the Jaguars are plus 6.5. I'll take them straight up money line, which is plus 235. So Jaguars to upset Philadelphia. That's my upset of the week. Again, if you think it'll be close, but you think Philadelphia will win, I mean, go ahead and take that plus 6.5. I think that's a pretty generous line. It's plus 6.5 for the Jaguars. Cleveland, Atlanta. I think Atlanta wins this game straight up. Why not? Like, the Browns, to me, we're seeing a lot of issues with Cleveland. The coaching debacle against the Jets. Like, are we sure that Kevin Stefanski is really the guy going forward? I guess he helped them get a playoff win for the first time in God knows how long, but he can only coast on that for so long. Atlanta, I mean, they play for one another. They're 1.5 underdogs at home. I'll take them to win. Cleveland just doesn't seem like a team that's ever going to reach their full potential. And if they do, there's going to be this massive black cloud hanging over it for the reasons we know. But I'll take Atlanta in an upset against the Browns at home. 1.5 underdogs to Cleveland, but I'll take them to win. Again, that's not one that I've personally bet, like in terms of my big five, but I would feel somewhat confident taking the Falcons. Commanders, Cowboys, another underdog I like this week. Commanders are 3-point dogs to the Cowboys. I don't think Cooper Rush is going to win 3 games in a row. And if you do, kudos to you. I'm not taking them. I'm taking the Commanders straight up. +3, -110. Money line +136. So, I mean, it's not like they're heavy underdogs in terms of money line. Wentz got sacked a lot last week. I understand that. But do I believe in the Cowboys secondary to be able to keep up with all of these weapons for the Commanders? Dotson, McLaurin, Samuel. I don't think that they can keep up with all of them. I think the Commanders have had success in the past decade going into Dallas. And I think they continue that this week and get a win over Dallas, get themselves a 2-2 and stay in this race for the NFC East. Arizona, Carolina. This game started off. So yesterday, the line was +1 for the Cardinals. It's since gone to -1.5 for the Cardinals. So I took it at +1 and ran because I think the Cardinals are going to run away with this. You could even go alt spread with this one. Like, I know that the Cardinals have their issues, but they're better than the Panthers. If you want to bet on Baker Mayfield to beat Kyler Murray, go ahead. I'm not. I would go alt spread like Cardinals -4. -3.5. And get some value in that. So I don't believe in Arizona. I don't believe in Carolina whatsoever. Arizona's had their own struggles. I like Carolina's defense. Baker Mayfield went 12-25 last week. They're still figuring out how to use Christian McCaffrey. Like, granted, he got 25 carries last week. About damn time. But if they get down, say he gets like 14-3, they're going to totally abandon using Christian McCaffrey for whatever reason. So I'll take Arizona. I would go alt spread on that one. Go to like -3.5. I feel very confident in the Cardinals this week. Denver is +2.5 to the Raiders in Las Vegas. The Raiders are going to win one eventually. I think this is where they get their first win. The Broncos have looked terrible this season. They haven't scored 20 points yet. Scored 16, 16, 11. That's awful. Absolutely terrible. And the Raiders, I mean, they let the one against Arizona slip away. They couldn't quite come back against Tennessee. They only lost by 5 to the Chargers. I mean, it's not like they're getting blown out. Each one of their games has been close. And I think that they win this one. I would take Raiders, and I'll take them minus the 2.5 against a Broncos team who just can't seem to figure it out offensively. Patriots, Packers in Lambeau. Axel, Brian Hoyer getting the start for the New England Patriots. They are plus 9.5 to Green Bay. I will take Green Bay. And you know what? I'll take a minus 9.5. What the hell? I'm not. If it was Mac Jones in there, I would probably feel comfortable taking them like minus 6.5. Brian Hoyer isn't going to keep this game close. The Packers defense is too good. The Patriots don't have a weapon that scares anybody. This is a preseason roster offensively for the Patriots, really. Nobody on their offense scares anybody, especially not Brian Hoyer. The Packers will win. Like, I don't think the Packers are going to like put up a ton of points, but if they win this game like 27-9, nobody's going to be surprised. So I'll take Green Bay and the points, minus 9.5. I know it's a big spread. Anytime anybody sees that, they rub their hands together, lick their lips, and be like, "Yep, cover." I don't think Patriots are going to cover that. Minus 9.5. Chiefs Bucks. The Chiefs are 1-point dogs to Tampa Bay. I think the Chiefs actually win this game. The Buccaneers have looked terrible offensively all season. They've just been able to cover it up because they've won. They beat Dallas 19-3 in a very sloppy game. They beat the Saints 20-10 in a game where they didn't have any sort of offensive life until the third quarter. And they only put up 12 points against the Packers last week. Say what you want about the Chiefs. They had a bad game against the Colts. Before that, they looked unstoppable. So I'll take the Chiefs. You can even go alt spread here if you'd like. Now that I say that, this is the game that Brady and the offense are just going to come to life and go to town. But I'll take the Chiefs plus 1. I'll take the money line. And then Rams and 49ers. This one, I'm not breathing next to this game because these two teams, no. 49ers looked terrible last week, but for some reason against the Rams, they always bring their best. The Rams haven't looked very good despite the fact that they're 2-1. So I'm not touching this one. I bet the 40, or in terms of the tally site picks, I picked the 49ers to win straight up. Just because would it surprise anybody if after that last performance for Jimmy Garoppolo, they come out, they play really sound, really solid football and win on Monday night. It's at Levi's. Wouldn't shock me in the slightest if they do. So I will take, again, not one that I'm officially betting on, but if I had to lean in a direction, I would take the 49ers. All right. Now for the Big Five. Games that I like. Vikings -3 against the Saints. Bills -3 against the Ravens. Jags plus 6.5 in money line against the Eagles. Washington +3 in money line against the Cowboys. Arizona -1.5. And again, I would go alt spread -3.5 against the Panthers. Some anytime touchdown bets if you're into that type of thing. Michael Pittman +145. Khalil Herbert +125. Surprised that it's that high. Like, he's going to get the ball a ton tomorrow. Gabe Davis +135. Dawson Knox +250. That's one that I really like for the Bills. Mike Williams is +125. Marvin Jones +330. I'd pay attention to that one. I know all the love has gone to guys like Zay Jones, Christian Kirk as of late. Marvin Jones, I think, is going to get some more of his this week. And then Zach Ertz +250. I think that's one that's sure to hit against the Panthers. So just some anytime touchdown odds there for you. And again, going into the week, as I pull it back up, 29-18-1 money line so far this season, 27-21 against the spread. As we head into week 4. And if you've got any betting questions, by all means, drop them at Jay Bailey NFL. Thank you guys for tuning into the betting stream. Excited to see week 4 tomorrow. Great slate of games, and we'll be back early next week, probably Tuesday, to talk about it all. This is the Pump Fake. I'm Jared Bailey, and I will see you guys soon.